Hello React Native developers, what is going on? Welcome to Can It Be Done in React Native? This week we do a friends request.
What's up guys, I'm Evan Bacon and today we're talking about using
Hello guys, I hope you are well. William here, recording from beautiful Zurich, Switzerland. This week we do a request from the man himself, Evan Bacon, from the Expo team. And last month he posted on the channel, it would be cool to see the YouTube swipe down floating video transition. And when Evan makes a request, I oblige. And plus this is a very cool idea. And so what are we talking about here? You can see the YouTube app here running on the right hand side. And I can click on the video, pops up, and you can just swipe down to continue playing the video while you can navigate on the app. And you can touch the video to go back to the full screen. And you can touch, play another video. And so you can also just swipe manually like this. And so you have this really beautiful transition here. You can see, swipe up, the opacity of the content below goes down, the height of the video goes down, and there is some margin also which is created around the modal. So just a very, very smooth and cool transition effect. So how would we do this in React Native? I would say, I think there's three things basically. So the first thing is that you see this modal playing the video, the state, because I can, continue navigating in the app. The state of this modal seems to be global, really to the whole navigation. And for this, I would use a React context. So in order to really be able to drive, so context, where basically you select the video that is currently playing, and you can use it anywhere in your app. So you can, start a new video, stop the video, or pause the video at, anywhere in your app. So that's for the first part. I would use a video playing context using the React Context API. And then the second part is the gesture. What kind of gesture we have here? So the gesture part seems to be actually pretty easy. We can only basically swipe up and down. So it's like a vertical gesture handling. And we have two snap points. So one up, one down like this. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. And for this, we can use the pan gesture handler from React Native gesture handler. I was thinking of using, of course, the scroll view, because I love, for simple gestures, if you watch the channel, that you know that I love using the transparent scroll view to drive animations that are based on really simple gestures. So for instance, only if you swipe on one direction or the other. So in this particular case, that would be actually more cumbersome to use the scroll view, just because of the direction and the fact that the height changes. I think would be just too much to take care of, where, implementing such a simple example with React Native gesture handler shouldn't be a problem. So the gesture part is really not that complicated. And then there's the third part, which I would say is probably the hardest part, is, so we have this animation value, which is driven from the gesture handler. Now we need to interpolate all the styling values from for this modal, and there is a lot. So first there is the height of the modal, you see here, that goes down, and there is the left and right margin also, that goes from 0 to, let's say, 8 pixels when you go from up to down. There is the height of the video that needs to be interpolated, and the width, the opacity of the controls, you see, the opacity of the content below, And I think, am I forgetting something? And I think seems to be it. And then you need to be able to tap again, re-trigger the swipe up. So a lot of values which need to be interpolated from the animation value that we get from the gesture handler. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We need to create a React context to have this global state to the app. I think it's a very simple gesture handling to implement. And finally, we have to interpolate all the animation values we need. So what do you guys think? Can it be done in React Native? Let's have a look. And before we get started, I would like to let you know about React Native Elements. React Native Elements is a premium React Native starter kit. It covers 80% of what you need if you have a new React Native project, from static analysis using ESLint and Flow to React Native navigation and lots of UI components. So we have different categories: music, social, food, photography, travel. We try to cover most use cases. This is what I use for every of my new React Native projects. I keep it up to date with the latest version of Expo and React Native APIs. And so if you have a new project coming up, I recommend you check it out. You can try it through test flight by requesting an invitation here, or an Android by using the APK or through the Expo client. So that's React Native Elements. You can check it out at react-native.shop/elements. All right, guys, let's get started. I created a boilerplate project using Create React Native App. You can download it in the video description in case you want to follow along with the live coding. And so what the project contains a couple of things. First of all, there is this video.js file, which contains essentially the data we need to use. And so it's a list of videos. We have the thumbnail, the video file, and some metadata. So a couple of videos. And then in the app.js, we load the videos. While the videos are loading, we show the splash screen. If not, we show the app. And here we have two components. So player provider, which will provide this global state to play a video. And so you can play a video while navigating in the app, or you can start a video also anywhere from the app. And so this is why we use a player provider, which is a React context provider. And then we have the home component, which is a root component. And here it's simply a scroll view where we show some video thumbnails. And if we go in the player provider, we have the video that should be currently playing in the state, null if there is no video playing. And there is this method called setVideo, which a consumer can use. And if the video is set, we show the modal. So we can actually, let me show you from the app. So this is the scroll view. So this is the home component. We tap, and this is the video modal component, which contains playing the video and some metadata. And if we go in video thumbnail, we use the player context consumer. Player context consumer receives the set method, the set video method, which we can use to start the modal. Again, this is where the method lives in the player provider. So the React context is really appropriate for these types of use case. And so let me reload the app. So I think the first thing we're going to do right now, if we click on the video, the modal opens very abruptly, and on the YouTube app, it's nicely slides up. So this is what we're going to do. So you see here, I'm going to tap, just displays abruptly. So that's not good. And I think what we're going to do is that once the state here is set, we're going to start an animation, and the initial state will be translate it down. So when the video is selected, you don't see the modal yet, and then we slide it up. And so first we need to execute this animation only once the re-rendering with video modal is done. And for this, we're going to use a callback of set state. So let's call it, let's say, toggle video. And we need to create a new animation value. So I'm going to import. So React Native Reanimated is, you can import it from Expo in the danger zone. So danger zone from Expo. And then that gives us access to the animated module from the danger zone. And then we're going to need some, const. We're going to need a value from animated. Okay. So I guess we can create it here. Let's call it, yeah, animation. And we can assign a value of 0. And then we're going to go from 0 to 1 when sliding up. And then once we have this working, we can interpolate the translation value of the modal with this animation value. So here we're going to use animated.timing, duration 300 milliseconds, to value 1, and we need to pass here the animation value as parameter. Okay. So, and now we can use the animation value. We need to start. So dot start. And here we can use animation to interpolate the Y translation. So I'm going to create translate Y variable. And so we use interpolate. Input range goes from 0 to 1. Output range goes from -8 to 0. And now we can use it in this view. So I need to use animated.view. And I think I can add transform. Style equals transform, which is an array of transforms. Translate Y. Okay, let's have a look. So maybe I have some problem with the import. Danger zone. Sorry about that. Okay, so I tap now. Do I need to add some easing maybe? Okay, and easing we can import from, not sure actually, the danger zone. Let's see. So that worked great, but we went from top to bottom. We should go from bottom to top. So it should be indeed 820. Sorry about that. Okay, so now it's lined up perfect, exactly like in the app. So now we have this model and we cannot, so there's no gestures basically enabled, right? So what I need to do, so this is the video model component, and the first thing we should do is to add a gesture handler to the model. And I'm going to import the gesture handler from Expo. And we're going to use the pan gesture handler. You can just get it from Expo, gesture handler. And so here I have the status bar, the placeholder for the status bar. I can put the pan gesture handler here, or maybe let me just put it around the view. So that this should be good. And okay, perfect. And let me check the documentation for gesture handler. Pan gesture handler, I think there's an example here. So we have on gesture event. And I can just do actually. So on gesture event, and there's also on handler state change, which I'm going to assign to the same handler, which we're going to create in the constructor. Okay, so here we can create it. So on gesture event is an event from reanimated. So I need to also import reanimated from the danger zone. So animated equals from the danger zone, and then I can import events from animated. And we're also going to need a value. Okay. So this is how we describe an event. That looks good. So we're going to need translation y, velocity y for the snap point, and the state of the gesture. Up, translation y, velocity y, state, and we can declare them here as animation values. So we have translation y, velocity y, and state. No, it should be called gesture state actually, because to not conflict with state from the v state from React. So gesture state equals new value, and it's state dot undetermined. Okay, which I think we can import from gesture handler. Okay. And so here, gesture state. So that looks good. And now what we can do, so we have the translation y value, and we can see if we were able to use it to swipe the view around. So I can maybe call it translation. Oops, sorry. I can rename it to translate y for now, and just use it here in the root view. So animated the view, animated the view. Here I can do transform. Is an array of transform, and I can pass translate y. Let's have a look. So the video swipes up, and now we can actually nicely move the image around. But so now we need to do two things. Basically, we need to implement a snap point, right? Because it needs to only snap at the top or at the bottom. And then also we need to remember when we start the gesture, we need to remember if the state was here or was at the bottom. Because you see, if I have this state right now, if I touch again, it translates. Because it starts from 0, right, every time. So let's do that. So to implement the snap point, we can go, I think, back to the Tinder example and just copy and paste the way we did the snap point. I think it should be in profiles. So we have the run spring function we can use here. So I'm just gonna copy paste. So we need to import a couple of things. Or maybe also I could import it from here. We imported probably here too much, but let's see afterwards which one are not used. So we have the run spring function, and so when the translation, the gesture ends, we need to calculate the snap point. Do we go up or down and run the spring animation? So let's do that. So actually, also I can copy paste this guy here. And so translation y and create translate x, translate y, okay. So translate y, I guess I can create it here. So what's the state of the gesture? Okay. And I need to declare it here as well. Okay. So when the state finishes, we have a clock. Okay. Perfect. So when the state finishes, we run the spring to not necessarily 0 to whatever is the snap point, right? I think. Or yes. So we need to calculate the snap point. So here we so we use this formula here. Okay, these two variables to calculate where with the velocity where the using velocity where the animation would stop, and then based on where it would stop, snap to the correct point. So here we have translation y, velocity y, and so that's fine. And so if this one is less than, let's say, height divided by 2, we go to 0. If not, let's say we go to height. And so for now, I'm gonna forget about the offset and just return translation y. So let's just have a look, see how it looks like. Okay. So here I'm swiping, and then here it should swipe down. That's good. Okay, but it's not available anymore. And now let's just try if it's swipe up as well. So now it should swipe. No, it doesn't work. Let me try again. So here, it's always swipes down. So I think it's because from the copy and paste here I have a negative value, but it should be actually positive value. Let's have a look. Okay, swipe up, swipes up, and swipe down. Perfect. Maybe we need to not go so far down. You know, so we could still see it. So maybe let's call a variable upper bound, which we can declare here maybe after the import. So we would have would be 8 minus, for now let's do 3 times 64 pixels. We'll readjust later what, you know, which values we need to use, but now so it swipes down. And here if I swipe up, I should have a glitch because I didn't remember what I'm down, so you see it goes up immediately. So if I go up, that's okay, but then if I swipe down, I need to keep the offset in memory. So I need to create a new animation value, which we're going to call offset y. Just create it here. And so when we spring, we store the offset, where we translate to the offset y, which is going to be 0 or upper bound, and we add this value to translation, to the value we return when the gesture didn't end for every other state essentially. And just need to use it from here. So let's have a look. So it goes down, and you see it goes up, it memorized that it was down. So yeah, it goes up, goes down. And I need to do one more thing, because you see if you swipe very fast, it's a bit glitchy. And the reason it's glitchy is because we don't stop the clock if it's still running. So the spring animation might be still running, we still run the animation. So when we start the gesture here, we need to stop the clock if it's running. So condition equals state equals state began, and so here we return okay, sorry. So if the state began, we do stop clock on clock y, and then we can return the correct animation value, which is offset y plus translation y. Just grab this. Very nice. So it seems to work well now. Oh. I think I forgot here to add the offset. So this is what, you know, like the swipe up looked very abrupt, and it's because I forgot to add offset y here. Perfect. So let's have a look. Swipes down nicely. Oh, you see, much better, the swipe up, swipe down. So pretty cool. So I think in terms of the gesture, that's pretty much it. So we did so we have the React context and the swiping up animation. We have the gesture, seems to, with the snap points and so on. And so now we need to interpolate the animation values. So let's have a look. Up. So let's start maybe with the opacity of the content. So here we have the video content component. We have a white background, which, because the background always stays white, but then whatever is on top of this background has a change of opacity. So here I can use animated view. And we're going to add some opacity. So opacity equals content opacity. Which we're going to be able to interpolate from translate Y. So content opacity equals interpolate translate Y. Input range. It makes me think I forgot something here. Because translate Y, also we need to add some upper bound and lower bound. And that would explain also if I go back here. Okay, well, let's do this later, sorry. So input range goes from 0 to upper bound. And output range, so let's go from 1 to 0, I guess. We can adjust later. And we need to extrapolate clamp. Actually, either we add the bounds to translate Y and then we don't need extrapolate, or we do it for every interpolation. Let me think. Yeah, let's keep it like this for now. So here the opacity goes down nicely. Maybe should it be a bit more aggressive? Maybe. So we can remove maybe 100 pixels here. Okay, start. Yeah, I guess that's good enough. And another value we could animate is so here we have width, height, and we could adjust the margin. So on the YouTube, when we go down, there is some left and right margin that exists. So we could call it content width. So interpolate translate y. We go from 0 to upper bound, and this goes from width to width minus 16. So 8 pixels on each side. Let's have a look. That doesn't look good. I forgot to add animated view. Okay. Try. Okay. So we get some nice margin, but not on the video. So we need to also animate the video width. But okay, but also we can animate the content of the video, because we know that basically it goes down as we swipe down. So I can also do content height. So it goes from 0 to upper bound and goes from height to 0. Let's try. Okay. I think we need to stop it. So if we go back to the YouTube example, sorry. So if I go swipe down here, so there is basically this state. So here we are the state 0. Here we are the state called upper bound, right? Which is this variable we created. And then we have this intermediary state, which we call, so this one, which we can call, let's say, mid bound. And here that's when the size of this the white container below the video needs to be 0. So let me go back to Expo. Let me update. So we go to, I guess here also we could use mid bound. And we can declare it here. Sorry. And maybe should be, let's say, okay. So let's do mid bound is 8 minus 3 times 64 pixels, and upper bound would be mid bound plus, let's say, 64 pixels. Just to try. Okay. Doesn't seem to work. But maybe we just don't see it because of the 8 of the video container. So maybe we can start animate this one. So yeah, we have the video component from Expo, and so we have width and height, and yeah, we have the 1.78 aspect ratio. So let's just animate this one. So to video height. So it goes from 0 to mid bound, and output range goes from, so I think was width divided by 178 and to 64 pixels. This maybe I can factorize. So okay. Oops. Okay, so yeah, we are doing something wrong. Yes, and I know what we need to animate this component. I like when it crashes for a reason. It's like when it crashes and it's random, that's not good. But yeah, there's clearly a good reason for it, so that's very reassuring. So const. So I'm gonna use animated create animated component, and we try again. Yes, hey, now it's pretty good. Cool. So we need to add now quickly as well the margin to the width of the video. So let's do that. So we have video 8. We can create const video width. So input range goes from actually, so we go from 0 to mid bound, and here we're going to go from width to width minus 16 pixels, so 8 pixels on each side. So mid bound And then from on upper bound, we're going to go from the width. So width minus 16 pixels to, let's say, you know, I don't know, a third of the width or something like that. So let's do upper bound. And so we go to width minus 16, and then to width minus 16, let's say, divided by 3. Divided by 3, extrapolate. Okay, and we can use it here. Stop. So we go down. Okay, well, it looks good, but the video is not centered anymore. And then we continue swiping. Ooh, okay, and the width is too small. But it's, I would say that it's getting there somehow. We just need to so we probably need to also, that's why we didn't see it center, we need to update the width of this component as well. And just do video container width. And let's give it a try. Oh, I probably forgot as well to add animated. Okay. Okay, swipes down, very cool. And so very nice, but with, okay, a couple of issues you see here. I need to also extrapolate to a clamp on translate Y because I can go swipe down more than I should. Then the final width of the video, oh, actually, yeah, it's too small. And then we also have the opacity of the player control of the title, which needs to change. So let's do these things. So what we're gonna do, and this is why you see I could create a translate Y, which has an extrapolate clamp, and then I wouldn't need to use extrapolate clamp on the other values. But okay, let's, so probably if I do create a variable, let's say called ty, and then you can create translate y equals interpolate ty. Input range goes from 0 to upper bound, and output range goes from 0 to upper bound, and we can add extrapolate clamp. So now I think here the extrapolate clamps can be removed. Okay, that's good. That's good. Oops. And so we saw that. I mean, okay, first let's try this one maybe. Okay, seems to be still an issue somewhere. Okay. Something is off here. So if we go in the player component, controls, there's this variable called placeholder width, which is the final width of the video, and we use it so we know exactly like how much space is taken by the video, and we can just nicely display the title and the controls. So I can just import it from this component, and so the video width here. I did width divided by 16 divided by 3, so that was, yeah, that was not good. And yeah, something is off here. But then, okay, the final position is correct. If I go in player controls, maybe I can do number offline. Okay. And 2. So something is off here with why can we still swipe? No, we can only swipe down till mid bound. But then for some values, so we can use, okay, so actually we cannot use the extrapolate here because for some values we go further from mid-bound, so I do need to add it back to every other interpolate. Hop. No. Syntax error. Okay. All right, swipe down. Yes, perfect. So we're pretty close. And I think the last part is to add some opacity to the player control component. And I guess yeah, I need to. Did I forget to extrapolate here? That's funny. Up. Okay, and so we can add some player control opacity. So we have the player controls, which we can wrap into an animated view. So int range, let's say we go from mid bound to upper bound. Output range goes from 0 to 1, and we extrapolate. Let's have a look. Output range. So swipe down. Yes, okay. I need to use. I really got confused here. I need to use ty here because then it's, since we didn't extrapolate, I cannot use translate y anymore. Okay. Swipe down, and the opacity goes up and down. Up. So that's pretty cool to, I mean, I think we're pretty close to the YouTube example, and I hope you guys found this example useful. Let me know what you think. I will link the whole source code to the video description. So there's this GitHub repository where I basically put all the examples. I put them on Snack as well. And I also always link also to the project boilerplate from which I start from. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed it. And let me know what you think. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.